Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rudy McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. US lawmakers are demanding an explanation from the Biden administration after a military hospital terminated a contract with Franciscan friars who had been providing Catholic pastoral care there for almost 2 decades. During Holy Week on April the 4th, the Holy Name College Friary in Silver Spring, Maryland, was given a cease and desist order requiring them to stop all services they offer at the neighbouring Walter Reed National Military Medical Centre. The friars had been serving the centre for almost 2 decades. The centre said it would engage in a contract with the secular Mac Global Company rather than with the friars after the contract's expiry on March the 31st. In a letter sent to Secretary of State Lloyd Austin, Representative Chris Smith accused the administration of showing a lack of consideration for service members' religious needs and rights. He also expressed concerns about the administration's ability to give Catholics the pastoral care they need. The letter, sent on April the 14th, questioned why the agency chose a for-profit contractor and why they delivered a cease and desist letter during Holy Week. Pope Francis has sent a letter to French Catholics inviting them to get involved in the Summer Olympics of 2024. The Holy Father expressed hope that the Games will be an occasion for a profound and fruitful encounter between people from all walks of life. The event is slated to take place in Paris and 16 other cities in France and French Polynesia from July the 26th to August the 11th next year. The Pontiff reminded French believers that they will be invited to become volunteers and to open their churches, schools and homes. He asked that believers open their hearts, saying that they should bear witness to Christ who lives in them and who shares his joy with them. As the fighting between the military and paramilitaries rages in Sudan, World Council of Churches General Secretary Rev Dr. Pillay expressed deep sadness at the escalation of hostilities. Expressing anguish over many people, including staff of the Sudan Council of Churches trapped in workplaces because of the intense fighting and shelling, Rev Pillay appealed for an immediate end to hostilities. He also prayed for peace and the restoration of normalcy in the country. After 4 days of intense fighting, the Sudanese capital Khartoum is without power and water supplies. Many medical facilities in the capital are struggling or are completely out of service. According to the humanitarian medical outfit Médecins Sans Frontières, 47 wounded people were taken to the El Fasher hospital in North Darfur, with 14 losing their lives. The outfit said that the hospital is running short of blood bags and medical supplies. Christian leaders in Nigeria have urged the newly elected government to involve all Nigerian citizens while building a new nation. The Christian Association of Nigeria leaders from Lagos State have called on President-elect Bola Tinubu and other politicians to bring everyone on board in nation building for the sake of growth and development. A statement, undersigned by Methodist Church leader Bishop Stephen Adigbite, said the country's issues could only be solved when the citizens stand together. He and other Christian leaders further implored politicians and religious figures to exercise caution in their remarks and to refrain from inflaming tensions. This appeal comes in the wake of turmoil rocking the country after the presidential election. In Nigeria, the 33 Christians who were murdered by Muslim herdsmen last weekend were laid to rest on April the 17th in the state of Kaduna, which is one of the epicenters of Christian persecution. Bishop Jacob Kwashi of the Anglican Diocese of Zonkwa presided over the funeral service of the believers. On Sunday, armed jihadists descended on the Christian-majority village of Runji in Zangon Kataf County. According to a Christian leader, Reverend Bauta Moti, this was the third attack on the village in a week. In a separate development, 8 secondary school students abducted by gunmen in northern Kaduna 2 weeks ago managed to escape from captivity. On Tuesday, they were discovered by villagers, who later alerted security forces. The female students were taken by armed men while they were returning home from school on the 4th of April. The former University of Kentucky All-American swimmer Riley Gaines has strongly condemned President Joe Biden's pledge to veto a bill that would bar biological men from competing in women's sports. Gaines claimed in an interview with Fox News Digital on Monday that Biden's threat to veto the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act was proof that he was prioritising a radical minority over women nationwide. This was just hours after the White House issued a statement criticising the bill. Gaines said female athletes of all ages, levels and sports deserve better. H.R. 734 is anticipated to be put to a vote this week on the floor of the US House of Representatives. The Pontifical Marian Academy has formed a commission to scrutinise possible apparitions of Our Lady and other associated mystical phenomena. The new body was inaugurated on the 15th of April and will study mystical phenomena that are yet to be approved by the Church. According to the president of the Academy, Father Stefano Cecchini, the observatory will provide concrete support to the study, authentication and correct disclosure of such events in harmony with the teaching of the Church, relevant authorities and the applicable norms of the Holy See. It will also examine cases such as weeping statues, bleeding crucifixes and cases of stigmata. The priest said it is important to study such cases carefully so as not to sow fear and anxiety about apocalyptic events and generate confusion about the papacy and the Church in general. The Governor of Kansas, Laura Kelly, has vetoed a born-alive bill that would have protected children who survive abortions. Governor Kelly vetoed the bill on Friday. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs vetoed a similar bill last week. Kansas and Arizona both have legislatures with a Republican majority, but the governors are Democrats. The governor of Kansas, where abortion is permitted up until week 22 of pregnancy, referred to the born-alive bill as misleading and unnecessary. Meanwhile, Hobbs' veto effectively quashes the born-alive bill in Arizona, where Republicans only have slight majorities. In the United States, the University of Pittsburgh's so-called LGBTQ task force has come forward with several demands, including expanding housing and healthcare to transgendered students. They also want the university to provide 3 fully staffed in-person resource centres dedicated to LGBTQ, disabled and Black, Indigenous and people of colour communities. The task force is also demanding additional medical leave for transgendered students. A Christian preacher who expressed his moral and religious objections in posts about a church that supports same-sex marriage and public drag queen performances in front of children has been given a 5-year social media silence order by a judge in Oklahoma's Washington County in the United States. Preacher Rich Penkovsky is being represented by a group of lawyers from the Rutherford Institute, a non-profit civil liberties organisation. They contend that the 5-year restraining order against him is disproportionate and violates the pastor's First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and the free exercise of religion. They are asking the Oklahoma Supreme Court to quash the order. Penkovsky oversees the Warriors for Christ Internet Ministry in Tennessee. His lawyers said the court's reasoning appears to be based solely on claims that LGBTQ leaders felt concerned about how others might respond to the Bible verses cited in the preacher's social media posts. However, there is no evidence that Penkovsky threatened anyone or attempted to incite violence by using them. Catholic bishops in the state of Tennessee joined more than 130 other religious figures in urging Republican Governor Bill Lee and the legislature to implement stricter gun prohibitions. They made this demand in a letter written less than a month after a shooting at a private Christian school in Nashville, when 3 students and 3 staff members were killed by a former student. The religious leaders also called on lawmakers to carry out background checks on all gun purchases and to close the so-called background check loophole. The letter, which was shared with the governor and legislature on Tuesday, said that firearms in the state are the leading cause of death among children and teenagers, with 59% of gun deaths being self-inflicted. Budget writers in Tennessee said on Tuesday they will use only $20 million of taxpayer money to support anti-abortion centres, which is a sharp decrease from the initial $100 million suggested by Governor Bill Lee 3 months earlier. According to State Senator Bo Watson, who heads the Senate Finance, Ways and Means Committee, both negotiating teams agreed that they would leave $20 million in the budget for crisis pregnancy centres. During the fiscal year 2021 to 2022, Texas put aside $50 million compared to Pennsylvania's $7 million and $6.5 million in Missouri. According to state data, public expenditure on crisis pregnancy centres has increased, however, over the past 10 years as the debate over abortion access has become more heated. Lee, who is a Republican, has enacted legislation that bans local government from using public funds to assist public employees in pursuing abortion services, including services out of state. Churches in Portugal will ring their bells at 8:23 p.m. on Sunday, April the 23rd, to commemorate 100 days until the start of World Youth Day in Lisbon. The mass gathering will be held from August the 1st to the 6th. The theme of the event is Mary arose and departed in haste, taken from the first chapter of Luke's Gospel. According to the local organisers, the so-called World Youth Day Hour aims to make all the churches of the country unite in celebration in ringing their bells. In response to the prevalence of and harm caused by online pornography, a new online discussion and prayer platform has been set up. SOS Porn Deliverance was recently launched under the patronage of the Italian computer programmer Blessed Carlo Acutis. The portal was first introduced in French in 2020 by the online evangelization organisation Lights in the Dark, which was established in 2015. It has also been accessible in English since March the 19th of this year. Since then, the association has created a number of themed platforms to spread the gospel to the church's peripheries, including themes of the Holy Shroud of Turin, the origins of Christmas, and the significance of St. Valentine's Day. On each platform, e-missionaries are available to respond to real-time inquiries from online users. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more, and do remember, you can always visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.